Alright guys, welcome back to part 5 of our Fakemons analysis. Today we are finally going over Pokemon Clover. A lot of people have been telling me to cover this one, so we're going to be going over it. Pokemon Clover, a pretty controversial game due to, the 4chan culture around it, and basically it's a meme Pokemon game with meme Fakemons, and a lot of them have some pretty interesting inspiration, and a lot of them are somewhat controversial, so we'll see how far I can really tread in this video. But if you do enjoy this video, please leave a like down below, share with a friend, and join the kingdom if you already haven't. We've now made it to 750 subscribers, so thank you guys for all the support on the Fakemons analysis videos. I've been enjoying making these a lot. But either way, let's get into Pokemon Clover now. And I have to say, out of all of the fan games, don't be expecting some really broken ass mons like you see from Infinity Insurgents and Uranium, and especially not Elite Redux. But these mons are still pretty respectable if I'm looking at them from a competitive Pokemon lens in terms of how good they are actually. So either way, let us begin with Warudio, which is based on Dio from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. We got a dark fighting type with the ability Regenerator. Out of these abilities, Regenerate is obviously the best one, and this is a Pokemon that's in Clover OU, and this is Clover metagames are basically just Clover Pokemon, so there's no other mainline mons or any other Fate mons. So in terms of out of all the Clover mons, Warudio makes it to OU, so it has some decent stats, I won't lie. Not anything too crazy by Gen 9 standards. I feel like Gen 9 just pushed the ante in terms of making Pokemon as strong as they possibly can be. But 120 base speed, that is pretty solid in Gen 9, so you can't really go wrong with that. 105 attack is not too bad. You also have some pretty decent defenses for an offensive Pokemon. Hopefully you don't hear the ambulance outside. But, yeah, so let's see what moves it has access to. It is a dark fighting type with an attack stat. So let's see what the physical moves that we have. So we get CC, we get high jump kick. Also has extreme speed. Some pretty solid moves, stab knockoff, pretty strong fighting stab options, decent coverage in psychic fans, has U-turn as well, so I feel like this mon is quite versatile in what it can do. Definitely could go choice scarf on this. Having a 120 base speed scarfer can never really go wrong. You'll probably go close combat, U-turn, knockoff, and what's the last move you could run? It actually has quite the good physical moves. E-speed scarf wouldn't make any sense. You do have Stone Edge, so I guess if you want to target psychic types for, what do you call it? No, I said psychic. Flying type Pokemon for super effective damage. Like, this last move could realistically be anything. In terms of its like status moves that it gets, it doesn't get like things like, oh, it does actually get Trick, so you could actually just go Trick and run dual stabs and U-turn. This could be a pretty decent scarf I could see. You could also go to the other side of the choice angle and go choice band and just do a lot of damage here. You could also go Trick, but the fourth move could also be another attack to target specific threats. Psychic Fangs, fighting type Pokemon that want to switch in. Bulky psychic types, I'm trying to imagine bulky fighting types. I'm trying to imagine this thing in like SVOU, so I'm thinking that Great Tusk would not like to take a Psychic Fangs. In terms of that, you also have Zen Headbutt to hit fighting types, and then like it's more having to deal with fairy types, which is the most important thing, and it doesn't seem like it gets anything to really hit those super effectively. But you still have like some other decent coverage options. No Poison Jab, no Iron Head, doesn't seem to get any steel coverage. You do have Earthquake, which is not the weakest move in the world, so you can't really complain there. I also saw some interesting status moves over here, like Lovely Kiss, which sleep is banned in SVOU, but in any other format, having a sleeper at this speed, that's actually kind of crazy. But you have to take in account the accuracy. This thing also gets Roost for some reason. Well, to be fair, it has wings. Dio from JoJo was a vampire, so but yeah, it's a pretty interesting one. In terms of Gen 9 OU, would it actually have the potential to make it there? I have no idea. 120 base speed is that. I'll say UU minimum. A mon like this should definitely be UU. It has some really interesting moves, and it actually does hit somewhat hard. So yeah, I would actually respect this one and put it in UU at the minimum, in my opinion. But yeah, that's Waludio here. In terms of our next Pokemon, we got Canonace. Now, I looked at the Canonance, I did not pronounce that properly. But either way, yeah, I looked at the usage stats for this from the games that actually get played on this simulator that I'm on. Link will be in the description. But yeah, this is one of the most used Pokemon in the Clover OU metagame. So we're going to be checking it out. Canonance here, looks like a cannon. What can I say? In terms of its abilities, it does have no guard and mega launcher, quite solid abilities. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. In terms of the mega launcher stuff, like, let's look at the stats first. 145 special attack, very, very strong Pokemon. Despite that, it does have 45 speed, but the defenses and the typing obviously make up for his low speed because it's very bulky. He only has 3 weaknesses and a multitude of resistances. So yeah, what moves does this thing have access to that can actually utilize mega launcher quite well? It obviously has Dark Pulse, Aura Sphere. Doesn't see it gets water pulse, but again, it's not a water type, so it's not really going to be using that. But yeah, you got stab flash cannon, stab Draco Meteor, hits very hard, and then the coverage options are basically stab level, so you can actually get away with that. In terms of what I would actually want to run on this, obviously 45 speed isn't helping you in any scenario whatsoever, so you could probably go like a choice spec set with like max HP investment, get the most out of your special attack, being able to go boost in nature. You get to 427 special attack, and then you just start hitting things. Like, this thing hits very, very hard. You probably need to run your steel stab so you can actually beat fairy types, be a threatening Pokemon to them, and then after that you probably want to be running Dark Pulse, maybe Fire Blast, just to, you know, hit the steel types as well, because obviously Dragon Steel can't hit steel types. Or you go Aura Sphere, which is stronger than Fire Blast, to be honest, and doesn't miss. So yeah, take that into account, and it can hit very, very hard. But in terms of the no guard angle, this thing does get Focus Blast, but you are missing the Mega Launcher boost, which is a shame. But having no miss Draco Meteor, you can't really complain about that. And in terms of other moves that has, accuracy, no guard Zap Cannon. Like, that's actually pretty funny, I can't lie. No guard Zap Cannon, having that guaranteed move that can always just paralyze the opponent, pretty solid there. Is Mirror Shot boosted by Mega Launcher? I actually don't know. But yeah, no, this thing is just like a pretty solid special attacker. Like, I would actually be afraid to switch into this Pokemon every single time. In terms of even the speed, maybe you could try and speed creep like base 60s or something. It really depends. But again, max HP, max special attack, I don't think you can really go wrong with that. The typing is too good, and you're not going to be getting O-code by non-stab earthquakes or even non-stab close combat. So yeah, you'll have a lot of damage output. You're quite bulky. In terms of anything else this one can do, from what I can see, this could actually be a bulky Pokemon, to be honest. You have 115 defense and 95 HP, which is actually pretty solid. And then I saw Will-O-Wisp in the move pool as well. So yeah, Will-O-Wisp, Toxic. Does it get any recovery? Relying on rest, probably not the best option. But yeah, this thing could actually be a surprising utility Pokemon. You have double status, you even have Haze, and you even have Defog too, which is actually pretty solid. So you do have the defensive options to go through. But overall, I would probably prefer to run this as like a choice specs attacker, or just like any boosting damage item and special attacks, because yeah, this thing's special attack stat is very high. So yeah, Cannonauts here, one of the top mons used in Clover OU, and I can kind of see why. This thing kind of just hits incredibly hard, and there's probably not that many Pokemon that actually want to be switching into this guy. But yeah, moving on to the next Pokemon. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but yeah, you can see the name here. F-Time. I'm just gonna say F-Time. I really don't want to get a strike on the channel, so I'm not gonna say this name. But either way, Rock Psychic typing. At this point, you're probably wondering, why am I gonna cover them if I'm not gonna say the name? But you guys can read if you're actually watching the video. Maybe some of you only listen to my voice when I'm speaking, but yeah, F-Time here. Rock Psychic typing with the ability Speed Boost. No other really useful abilities. I mean, Stamina's not bad. But yeah, very coincidental base 69 speed with the name like this. So, you know, definitely intentional. But regardless, Speed Boost, pretty solid ability to have on any Pokemon, to be honest, especially one that only has 69 base speed. So being able to just boost your speed continuously is also very good to have. 120 attack, Rock Psychic. You don't really see this typing often. Like, it's legitimately only like Solrock and Lunatone in canon. If I'm forgetting another Rock Psychic type, I apologize, but maybe they're just that forgettable. But yeah, Lunatone, Solrock typing, again, not the best defensively. This is coming in at like 6 or 7 weaknesses, I think. Like, you cancel out. Rock doesn't even help Psychic cancel out anything. Like, you're not. Rock doesn't resist Bug, and I lost money because of that way back when. But you know, despite my tough history with the Rock typing, yeah, not good defensively, but offensively, it has some pretty solid moves. I'm not gonna lie. It does have Photon Geyser, which obviously changes physical and special depending on your highest stat. So having a pretty solid Psychic type stab option that isn't Zen Headbutt or Psycho Cut is very good to have. In terms of the rock type moves that it has access to, typical rock type moves, Stone Edge, Rock Slide. It has Accelerock as priority, which is actually pretty solid. Head Smash too, but you know that recoil is pretty bad. And then in terms of coverage, you have Earthquake and also the Shitpost move, which is basically a ground type outrage. You're probably not going to be spamming this too often because again, it's outrage basically, but for ground. But yeah, Earthquake is pretty solid there. In terms of setup moves, does it get anything? It does get Swords Dance, so pretty solid. And then you just go Edgequake, I guess. And yeah, you're pretty much set. You probably need like 2 boosts to actually be quite threatening. Like 69 base speed should get to like 259 or 260 speed. Yeah, 260 speed, which isn't too bad. That +2, you do get to 520 speed. So that's not the worst. It's still slower than like base 110 Scarfers, but if you just get another boost, you know, you'll be set for life basically. And you are actually somewhat bulky, but again, the typing really undermines that. But yeah, in terms of items, like I know there's some Clover exclusive items. Again, I haven't played the fan games like that, so I don't know. But yeah, this could go Life Orb. This could probably go like a Resist Berry to help it. That ground weakness is going to be pretty bad. But being a rock type that doesn't, you know, isn't weak to fighting is also pretty decent as well. But yeah, F-Time here, pretty solid Pokemon. Would not be an OU by any circumstance, but being a rock type threatening Great Tusk, you have to take that into account. I'm not gonna lie. +2 Photon Geyser, it's gonna do a whole lot of damage, to be honest. So yeah, F-Time here is a pretty solid Pokemon. Now moving on to Drag King here. This is based on like drag culture and things, you know, LGBT sort of things. But yeah, Drag King here, wanted to cover it because I saw this thing was in Clover RU and I was like, with these stats, I'm actually surprised. But at this point, freaking Snorlax is in ZU, man. Stats don't mean nothing anymore, man. Power creep has really hit the game too hard. But regardless, yeah, Drag King here, a pure fairy type, and has some pretty decent abilities here, especially its hidden ability Posed here, which says this Pokemon's immune to poison type moves and restores a quarter of its HP. Probably when it's hit by poison type moves, it cuts out here, so I don't really know what it says. But yeah, being a fairy type, cutting out one of your 2 weaknesses is pretty solid. And also Serene Grace is not a bad ability. You do have Body Slam. Nothing really on your stab sides that can really take advantage of this, I think. Like again, play rough, getting a 20% chance of luring your attack is not often that's gonna happen. So yeah, I'll probably go Posed here. I hope I'm saying that right, but yeah, in terms of the moves that I can run, it is a physical attack or 110 attack. Again, not the worst attack stat in the world, and 115 speed is pretty respectable. So yeah, what physical moves does it have access to? Obviously, it has its stabs. Has some pretty good coverage options, I'll give it that. You do get Pixie Pummel, which is a move exclusive to Clover. 120 base power, 80 accuracy. I would low-key just run this over Play Rough, I'm not gonna lie. I prefer power over accuracy. I've said this in many videos. I'll say it for the rest of my life. I will always choose power over accuracy, and then tilt when I miss. But you know, that's that's neither here or there. But yeah, you do get High Jump Kick as coverage to hit steel types, but if you don't like the accuracy of High Jump Kick, which I don't blame you for, you do have Blaze Kick as a decent alternative. It's not as strong as High Jump Kick obviously, but 85 base power with 90 accuracy is not the worst move in the world. And then in terms of that, you do have U-Turn as well. Anything with U-Turn is getting Choice Scarf. That's just my philosophy. If you have U-Turn and a decent speed tier, you are becoming a Choice Scarfer. That's all I have to say. But yeah, you could probably just run Earthquake here. And yeah, you're pretty much set with this Pokemon. Again, good choice band as well on this. It also has some Swords Dance sets. Now you could actually go like Berry Berry. You have your ability that cancels out your poison weakness. Berry Berry will help you with your steel weakness. And then you just go like Swords Dance, Pixie Pummel, probably Blaze Kick. I wouldn't risk High Jump Kick. But again, if you're living on the edge like I do on a regular basis, Fairy Fighting gets the job done. Then you have Earthquake to hit poison types for super effective damage. And yeah, I think this is a pretty respectable Pokemon. Would it be OU? No, I don't think, like, Valiant is in the tier, so I would give it some credit, to be fair. Like, it would actually be a respectable UU Pokemon. I think with 110 base speed and its ability, like, the ability is really big. Like, being immune to poison as a fairy type is a very good thing to be. So, you know, yeah, I think this could have a niche in OU 100%. In my opinion, I think that's correct. But yeah, moving on to our 5th Pokemon we're covering, we're going to be going over Potardid here. And I don't think I have to say what this guy's name is based on. that. Again, don't want to get a strike on my channel for saying words I'm not supposed to be saying. But yeah, Potarded here, ground typing. It is in Clover OU over here. Has a pretty massive attack stat and decent. It has a pretty solid defense stat. Let me not say decent. This is a good defense stat with a pretty good 110 HP backing that up. Also has 79 special defense. Again, not particularly too high, but the HP does make up for it. And then it has 70 speed. So yeah, in terms of its abilities, I think its abilities are obviously taking into account the name, inspiration of its name, Oblivious, Klutz, and Unaware. You know, I think I can make the thematic link and correlation between them. But yeah, Rockhead, I don't think I mean, you get Head Smash Rockhead, which having a 150 option with Edgequake combination, you have Stab Earthquake plus Head Smash. I think this is actually pretty solid in terms of being an offensive attacker. Again, Oblivious is useful for Intimidate, but I think Rockhead overall is going to give you more mileage just because rather than using Stone Edge. Again, Head Smash and Stone Edge have the same accuracy, so what does it really matter? But having Head Smash being 50% stronger, I think you have to take that into account, obviously. Now, in terms of what this mon is capable of, it is a slow attacker. I did see some, you know, access to bulk up and things, so it could actually be a decent bulk up Pokemon with, like, specially defense investment, and then, like, you probably don't need any investment in that attack stat, especially when you're boosting, and just being able to tank things on the special side a lot more is good. Ground is decent defensively. You only have 3 weaknesses, and then you have, like, how many resistances does ground even have? Like, it has the electric immunity and it obviously resists rock, but nothing else in my head is kind of like, what's ground's defensive typing? Like, what else does this thing resist? I think ground only resists rock, you know, and poison. That's it. But like, you do have the immunity to electric, so take that into account. I also saw Stealth Rocks here, so it could be like a bulky Fizz Def mon with Stealth Rocks. Doesn't have any recovery though, so you know, take that into account. But yeah, I just think this one could be decently versatile. Either you go a bulk up set, could go banded. 70 base speed is not the worst in the world, and the surprise factor is there. If I also go banded, you probably have to go like knockoff potentially, and then does have some, it has power whippers, which is actually really good for getting rid of water types. So I'll probably run this, maybe get to 200 speed. I know base 50s with maximum investment in speed without boosting nature gets to 199. So, you know, being able to go adamant here, invest the rest in your HP. You have quite a bulky Pokemon that you probably don't want to be switching into. Oops, I dropped my notebook. That's not a good thing. But yeah, you get Choice Band here. But yeah, Potarded here. I think this mon has a lot of potential. Would it be an OU? I don't know, you know. I don't know. Again, like, these are somewhat modest stats, but like even by Gen 9, something like Clefable can still make its stats work in Gen 9. So especially a mon like this, which has quite a lot of offensive potential, I feel like RU would get completely destroyed by this realistically. Like, it would be quite a centralizing threat in like a lower tier, for example. I can't see this thing being lower than RU in my opinion, even with this stat. Like, it gets 600 base stat total. This thing won't be RU. This thing would be quite hard to take down. But yeah, moving on to our next one, we got Liz Akbar here, and you know, this thing has a hidden ability, which I also won't be saying that, you know, just for my own benefit. I'm not saying this, but yeah, this ability of its has a +1 priority to you know, self-fainting moves. I'm just gonna say self-fainting moves. I'm not saying this word again. I want my channel to be okay. But yeah, immune to Sandstorm, especially with this ability. So overall has a pretty deep, like, this is giving me like Heatmore vibes, but except if Heatmore was actually a better Pokemon than it currently is. But 120 special attack, 100 speed, 65 defenses. Like, again, it's not a very bulky Pokemon, and I can kind of understand why if you see the look of it. But you know, Fire Dark typing, not the worst in the world. Chi made that work this gen. Mega Houndoom has been a decent Pokemon, let's just say that. But yeah, so let's see what this mon has. Liz Akbar, what does it have access to? So it has access to Dragon Dance. It does have a much lower attack stat than special attack stat, but considering the fact that your self-fainting moves do give you a you get a priority boost on that, could be actually decent. It gets Explosion, obviously. Probably has Self-Destruct as well, just to take that into account. Self-Destruct is right there. I don't think it gets any other self-fainting moves. So, yeah, probably won't be leaning too much into that, I'll say that. But in terms of, like, if there was a sand setter in this tier or format. I don't really know what gets sand stream in Clover, but yeah, you have some decent ones. Like these guys are UU, so you know, take that as you will. But Sand Rush, 100 base speed, can't really complain about that. That's faster than Excadrill, for example. But let's try and lean into its special side, because I don't think we're getting anywhere. Oh my days, I'm flopping today. I don't know why. I just dropped my mouse. But yeah, let's look at its special side, see what it has access to. Stab Fire Blast. Oh wait, it does have a signature move. 250 base power. What? That's basically Explosion. It has a fire type explosion on the special side. Okay, that's actually pretty solid. Holy Duty. And you know, I think that's basically what that translates into in terms of its ability. But yeah, 250 base power. Yeah, pretty solid Pokemon here. I don't think, yeah, having an explosion clone on the special side, yeah, nah, that is kind of crazy, I won't lie. But yeah, you could obviously fit that move here. You have Focus Blast, you have Mind Blown. You also have this move called Warhead, which is a 110 base power steel type move, 80 accuracy. You probably don't need steel coverage, like you probably don't need this, but yeah, you have some also interesting moves like Dark Pulse for stab, which you probably want to be running both of your stabs. They no single type resist fire dark, so take that into account. You have Inner Power Grass for water types, and then I guess if you want to do Holy Duty, you have Holy Duty with you know, the hidden ability here. So yeah, does get any setup moves. It does get Nasty Plot, so you know, Nasty Plot, Holy Duty. I don't think resists even want to be taking that into account, because deep it 250 times stab. That gets to 375 base power. Divide that by 2, and that's like 100 and something. So yeah, like resists are not taking this attack, especially at +2 with this ability as well. Yeah, I found myself quite a funny Pokemon here, I won't lie to you guys. But yeah, Liz Akbar, pretty threatening Pokemon. Obviously a very controversial one, judging by the name of the ability, but you know, Pokemon Clover had some fun. They definitely had some fun. I should have made a box, to be fair, so we will be doing that. But yeah, moving on to our next Pokemon, we got Gay here. Now, you know, it's obviously based on, you know, Gay. So, you know, Fairy Flying typing, some pretty decent abilities as well. Serene Grace, Magic Bounce. Gay and who did I cover? Drag King evolved from the same Pokemon. So yeah, they are quite similar. Yeah, they basically had swapped around stats. Gay is a special attacker and Drag King was a physical attacker. So let's see what Gay has access to here. Stab, Aeroblast. I think they just wanted to hand out Aeroblast for the sake of it. Lugia, your signature move, is not as signature as you'd want it to be. Fairy type moves, probably get Moonblast. Can't really complain about that. Can't hit steel types though, so either you run Heat Wave or Focus Blast. You get the option of Heat Wave, so that's actually pretty solid. If you do want to hit Heatran though, run that Focus Blast. And then, yeah, you could go Roost. I don't really think it gets any of, like, it gets Calm Mind, which, to be fair, Fairy Flying Fire should hit everything for at least neutral damage. Maybe not some rock types, like rock steel types, but again, rock steel is like the worst defensive typing ever. So yeah, I would go Serene Grace, getting that 60% drop on Moonblast. That's actually kind of crazy, I can't lie to you guys. But yeah, Heat Wave getting a 20% chance of burn, can't complain. Oh wait, Heavy Duty Boots is not allowed. I guess Clover doesn't have Heavy Duty Boots, but again, if that's not taken into account, you have Leftovers, you have Expert Belt, you know, just anything to boost your damage. Again, you have a decent speed tier, decent special attack stat. Fairy Flying typing is definitely worse than pure Fairy. You get added Rock weakness for like no reason, and then at least you resist ground, but what can I say, you know? So yeah, Gay, again, this isn't going to be anything OU level. Could actually, again, I think both of Drag King and Gay can make it to you know, UU, for example, because like 115 speed is still respectable, and like you have some high power stab moves, a 60% special attack in Moonblast. So like versus special attackers, you're going to be dropping their special attack most of the time, and then you'd actually take their hits a lot better. You also have 69 HP. Intentional. But yeah, moving on to our next Mon. It's called Semdemen. Obviously, if you remove some of these letters, you get a word that I'm also not going to be saying, but you know, if you figured that out, well done. You figured it out. But yeah, water ground typing. What abilities does it have? It has immunity, insomnia, and damp. Again, somewhat useless abilities. I guess immunity is useful for toxic if you're taking it into account that sleep is not banned in a certain format. But yeah, quite situational abilities, but yeah, but both somewhat useful, to be fair. Water ground typing, only one weakness to grass. Doesn't seem like a crazy Pokemon, but like this is in OU, and I guess I just wanted to cover it because of the name and like what it's based on, which again I will not be saying. You guys have the internet to figure this out. But yeah, let's see what it has access to. It has some pretty it has 130 HP. Let's take that into account. This could be a very bulky Pokemon. Water ground types historically have been quite bulky defensive Pokemon that have held many tiers together, you know, whether that's Swampert in some Gen of UU or even OU back in ADV, or Quagsire jumping tiers in Gen 7 because Gen 7 UU store was getting out of hand. You know, these guys have always been good, at least like the good water ground types like Gastrodon, Quagsire and Swampert, not Whiscash. But regardless, yeah, let's see what it has access to. So it gets some poison moves. It is a web setter, can't really complain about that. A bulky web set with soft boiled as well. That's actually pretty solid. It's obviously nerfed PP due to Generation 9, but having reliable recovery on the defensive mon, you can't really complain about that. Some defensive mons wish they had recovery. But yeah, gets access to Scald, has Earth Power. Like this could actually just LARP as Gastrodon, and I guess you have like Toxic and any other move you want to run. But it is quite versatile, has Haze, has like I said, Sticky Web. Yeah, it has Taunt as well, but again, 60 speeds Taunt. I guess if you want to taunt some slower walls, good for you as Encore. But yeah, just seems to be a pretty decent wall here. Like whether you go Fizz Death or Spadef, I feel like this is a very bulky Pokemon, especially thanks to its HP stat. And then it has 90 special attack, which, you know, for wall is not passive. Scald and Earth Power are going to be hitting quite hard. It is almost as strong as Gastrodon, so you know, like, and Gastrodon's not a like frail Pokemon. But yeah, Ice Ground coverage here, Scald, Soft Boiled. But obviously, if you want to try and fit like let's say Stealth Rock or Sticky Web, yeah, this guy's for you. But yeah, doesn't get any pivoting moves, so like it might be a momentum drain. But at this point, yeah, there's a move called Come and Go. Yeah, I'm finding out more about this stuff than like some of you are also finding out at the same time as me. But yeah, Sediment here, pretty decent wall, water ground typing. I think in OU, yeah, I could see this thing in OU, to be honest. Water ground is quite bulky, has Toxic, has reliable recovery, has Scald. Like, there's actually nothing wrong for this Pokemon, at least on the defensive side of things. Yeah, could be quite solid. Now, moving on to Militant. I'm pretty sure I can say this word, Militant. And as you can see, this sprite is very small. Like, is literally this small. But yeah, Steelworker, Bug Poison type. But look at the stats. If Min-Max was a thing, like, Glass Cannon, like, Rampardos can't even hold... Oops, I dropped that. I keep dropping stuff, man. But yeah, Rampardos can't hold a candle to this guy. This is the ultimate min-maxed attacker. 130 speed with 155 attack. Like, yeah, no. And I thought Chansey Echo from... where did it come from again? Infinity was crazy. Nah, this is the ultimate glass cannon. And it's so tiny, so it makes sense. But yeah, Militant here has some pretty strong abilities. Steelworker giving it Steel Stab basically. Strong Jaw boosting its biting moves. It is a Bug Poison type. Not the strongest offensively. Like, this is walled by Poison and Steel types. So let's see what options it has on the physical side to, you know, get around these issues. Now, it has Superpower, can't complain. You know, that's a strong move to hit Steel types. Poison types, though, yeah, you might not have a... you have Psychic Fangs. Yeah, that's not too bad. And then you have, like... Ooh, it has some interesting moves with Strong Jaw, I'll say that. There's a move called Overbite here. 150 base power. Loser loses 50% max HP on hit. So, obviously, this is like a mind-blown Chloroblast. Any move that halves your HP after using it. But being boosted by Strong Jaw, add a choice band onto Militant here. And, like, you have quite a solid breaker. I'm not going to lie. Does it get U-turn? Yep, it does. Stab U-turn. Can't complain. Like, 130 speed. This thing is not weak to... Well, to be fair, it is weak to priority. Like, you're not neutral to Aqua Jet and Sucker Punch. But to be fair, I was going to say you X4 resist Mach Punch. But with these defenses, you might still just get, like, free hit KO'd by that, which is insane. But, yeah, this could be an interesting choice band mon. Again, any mon that gets U-turn is a choice scarfer, in my opinion. So, yeah, you have that into account. I don't know if I'd run Overbite too often though, but just having a really strong move like that gets boosted to 225 base power just on its own, thanks to your ability. So yeah, take that into account. You also have SD, but yeah, what are you setting up on exactly? 20, 15, 15 defenses. Not even LC Pokemon have this level of bulk, bro. Like, it has like half the stats, the defensive stats of LC Mon. So yeah, nah, Militant is a very funny Pokemon. It made it into OU. Again, this is a mon that's still fast and hits incredibly hard, despite the fact it has no bulk to its name. Doesn't even have 200 HP nor 100 defenses. Like, yeah, funny Pokemon for sure. Would it make it into OU? I low-key see you getting destroyed by this, because it comes in once, hits you with like an Overbite, and something's dying, and there's no pursuit trapping in Gen 9. So yeah, Militant, very strong Pokemon here. Now on to Gory. I'm gonna have to say this like a bit weird. Yeah, Gorianus. Yeah, Gorianus. Like, don't say it the way I'm thinking of how you actually should say it, but Gorianus here. This is our first Ubers Pokemon in Clover OU, and I can kind of see why it got put into Ubers. 530 base stat total, which isn't anything too crazy, but 130 attack and 105 speed with sheer force. Again, sheer force attackers are going to be kept to a life orb set, but yeah, this one just hits very, very hard. Yeah, that's all I can say really. It just hits very, very hard. So let's see what moves it has access to utilize this. It has Stab, Sheer Force boosted Shadow Bone. I didn't even know Shadow Bone had a 20% chance of a secondary effect. I didn't know that. But yeah, that gets boosted by Sheer Force. You have Shadow Sneak, Stab, Earthquake. Sheer Force boosted Rock Slide. So that's going to be doing a lot of damage. And then, but yeah, you have those. It gets Shadow Sneak as well, and then you could obviously run a fighting move because Ghost Fighting actually works out so well, but you don't get any moves that are boosted by Sheer Force on the fighting side, and all of the fighting type moves you do get are pretty bad. Like Brick Break is too weak, Hammer Arm drops your speed, and Superpower drops your attack and defense. So yeah, take that into account. You do get a priority move that's like Fake Out called Spook Out, and fair enough, you're not getting the flinch. But again, that's a secondary effect, obviously. So having a strong priority move like that, like which is faster than extreme speed, I'm guessing this has +3 priority like Fake Out as well. So outspeeding Quick Attack, Sucker Punch, extreme speed, and even outspeeding, and you're immune to Fake Out as well because of your ghost typing. Yet, but yeah, this could be a very strong priority move to have over Shadow Sneak for sure. Again, it will only work on the first turn that you're sent out like Fake Out. But yeah, I can see this one being very annoying to deal with, at least on the defensive side. Could definitely make it into OU with its typing and you know, damage output for sure. Does it get any setup options? No bolt. To be fair, what does this one need? Doesn't need any setup options, bro. Already hits very hard already. Like, you even have Stab, Play Rough if you want to. I said Sheer Force boosted Play Rough if you want to hit you know, fighting types. No, I mean dark types for super effective damage. But yeah, Gorianus here, very solid Pokemon. Yeah, definitely OU minimum. I don't see this thing in UU. It would absolutely destroy UU, in my opinion. But yeah, moving on. We only got 2 more months to cover. The rest of them are Uber's level threats. But again, if you guys are watching this video and you're like, this guy didn't mention any other Pokemon or like the whack formats, let me know down below. I'm down to making another video. So, you know, just let me know what you guys want to see, innit? But yeah, let's move on to a design. Yeah. This is a design indeed. Literally says it in the name. But yeah, it has an ability which has no competitive use, but its hidden ability is any ability. Nah, this one is actually crazy. But yeah, it has any ability, but it's chosen from random. So this thing could realistically just get any ability. But yeah, obviously, with the power of having any ability, you kind of can't really build around it per se, but it does have 115 in all the stats here, so that means that it gets a 690 base stat total, obviously higher than a box art legendary, so we're not going to be putting this thing in OU whatsoever. But yeah, it's typeless, so it has no weaknesses, has no resistances, has no stab either. It does have an attack, which I don't know if that gets stabbed. I would assume it gets stabbed. I don't know if typeless actually gets stabbed because there's no typeless attacks in the mainline games, but I'm assuming it gets stabbed on an attack. So yeah, 120 base power, 100 accuracy is a pretty solid attack, I must say. But yeah, let's look at the setup options that has access to actually utilize its stats. It gets Swords Dance, so you could go like Swords Dance and attack. And then like coverage options. Again, an attack is typeless, so there's no resistances. So realistically, do you even need coverage? You get a 120 typeless stab option, which to be fair, you could just go knock off any of these moves, and any of them. I really don't know. Like, this one is too versatile, and I can see why it's obviously banned due to its stat spread. Having any ability in the game on random, hopefully you actually get a good ability, and you're going to get some exclusive abilities as well in Pokemon Clover. And then yeah, this one would be quite solid as well. Also has Calm Mind. On the physical side, I don't think it gets any stab moves on the special side, but again, it still has some solid options: Bolt Beam combination, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, Earth Power, Blizzard, Ice Beam, Sludge Wave even. Yeah, but yeah, just being a typeless mon, not having any weaknesses, your stab attack and attack not having any resists. Yeah, this one is very hard to, you know, try and prep for, especially if you go like a choice band. You could run this legitimately as like just a wall breaker, and like it would be very hard for you to actually switch into this Pokemon. In terms of its defensive utility, it does have rocks, it does have recovery, it gets roost and soft boiled. Again, it doesn't really matter which one you run, but like you do have that. You have teleport as well. Like, yeah, there's just so much with this Pokemon, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, a design definitely one of Clover's strongest mons for sure. This one would definitely be in Ubers and Gen 9 OU. Don't even let this guy into OU. Like, someone will try and justify letting this guy into OU because he'll get any ability and they could roll Truant. But I'm just like, most of the time, this ability might not even come into clutch. It's just the fact that it's a typeless mon, so it has no weaknesses. So like, how do you actually beat a Pokemon with no weaknesses, and its stab also is gonna hit you for like neutral at all times? But yeah, moving on to our last Pokemon here, we've got Clovenix here. Now, Clovenix is the mascot legendary of Pokemon Clover. It's in the name. Grass Fire type regenerator. It gives me such Ho-Oh vibes, and you know, basically has the same like appearance as Gen 3 Ho-Oh. Like, I can see the inspiration in the sprite. Basically, they definitely used that as an inspiration to make this Pokemon. But yeah, 150 speed. Yeah, that's blazing fast. And 125 in the offenses. So yeah, no. So you got a Pokemon. Grass Fire actually isn't even that bad. Like, it's one of the best defensive combinations with grass, because you only end up having rock and rock, flying, and poison weakness. You cancel out grass's bug and you know, you cancel out grass's bug weakness, and then fire, you know, you cancel out the grass weakness, or the ground weakness of fire. But yeah, let's see what Clovenix has access to. Also has Super Luck as well. But yeah, I think Regenerate is going to be the more useful ability. But in terms of Super Luck, you do have a stab grass move called Futaba Break, which destroys screens. I said signature, like you do have a stab option there, but I thought I had a move that had like a high crit rate. Maybe I'm tweaking, I don't know, but maybe I'm tweaking, who knows. Oh, this gets Quiver Dance. What the hell? What the hell? Oh my god, no way. But yeah, Quiver Dance. Let's focus on that, innit? Regen, Quiver. It also has Dragon Dance. But yeah, no, this is a very solid Pokemon. In terms of that, you obviously have access to your grass stab moves aren't the strongest. Like, you have Grass Knot and Giga Drain, and Grass Knot in an Ubers context, again, it's quite heavy Pokemon, but with the amount of Pokemon that actually just resist grass anyway, you probably are just going to run Giga Drain anyway. You get Oblivion Wing, which is very good for longevity. You get Dazzling Gleam of Earth Power as coverage, and then obviously you have like Fire Blast as stab, and then you can go like Earth Power to, you know, target. No, Dazzling Gleam is actually better for targeting dragon types, but obviously your Flying Stab also does that for you. Well, I said Flying Stab is a grass fire type, man. The tweaking's insane, but yeah, cool. You can just go Earth Power. Or is Earth Power even necessary? It has some pretty solid moves under his arsenal. You guys can figure it out for sure. But yeah, in terms of the physical side, like I said, it gets access to Dragon Dance. And in terms of stab options there, you get Sacred Fire, which is a very strong fire type move, 50% burn chance, 100 base power. In terms of your grass stab, like I said, you got Futaba Break, which is 90 base power. Actually, it breaks screens, which it is somewhat useful in in certain coincidences. And then yeah, Futaba Break, and then in terms of that, you have Earthquake, because Grass Fire can't hit dragon types. all fire types super effectively. So either you go Dragon Claw, Earthquake, probably better because of the power, and like ground hits 5 types super effectively. But yeah, Clovenix, you're living up to your name as the legendary of Pokemon Clover. This is basically a box art level Pokemon, and it even has higher stats than box art legendaries. This has most box arts get to 680. This has 720, so it has Arceus's base stat total, and you know, has the ability to either go physical or special. Pretty solid defensive stats, especially with the typing as well, and Regenerator being one of the best abilities in the game. But yeah, that is it for covering some of the Pokemon Clover Pokemon. I hope you guys enjoyed the Pokemon that I did cover. I hope you guys enjoyed me suffering for a bit, because this video just made me nervous, bro. Like, I was dropping stuff, I couldn't say certain things, but I hope you all understand. Like, I'm not trying to get my channel in trouble. Like, I've worked too hard on this channel for me to just throw it away because I said some crazy shit. But yeah, let me know down below what your favorite Pokemon Clover Pokemon is. One that I forgot to cover. Again, I'm not trying to cover like all 300 plus of these Pokemon in it, but you know, the ones that you think I did miss and I deserve to cover, just let me know down below and I'll give them a look. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.